Check, mic check.
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting for Tuesday, February the 4th. A little bit about our agenda tonight. We're going to flip the agenda. Better let the kids get home so they can study. So in just a minute, we're going to go to the invocation. Nashed Karmali is going to give the invocation. And then we've got some special guests, Colony Bend Elementary School. I'm going to call the kids down, and we'll do the pledge to the nation's flag and the pledge to the Texas flag. And following that, we're going to go into closed executive session. And that way, if you guys want to sneak out, you can sneak out. I don't think you want to stay for the council meeting. So at this time, we're going to go ahead. Council members, is that okay if we go to the prayer and then the pledge? Everybody good? Okay, Nishad, would you lead us in the prayer?
Sure. Will you please rise and join me in prayer? Dear God, as we gather here today for our city council meeting, we're asking for your guidance and protection. Please keep our staff safe and healthy, and give the council members the wisdom to make good decisions. We also want to uplift our amazing first responders. Watch over them, give them strength, and guide them in their important work they do to keep us safe every day in our sweet city. May this meeting be filled with respect, understanding, and positive outcomes. Continue to guide us along the right path. In your name we pray, amen.
Okay. And I'm going to introduce our special guests. I'm going to ask that the Colony Bend Elementary sponsor, Laura Yarrow, would you please come down? Our principal, Amanda Rogers. Amanda. President is Joel Zetto. Joel, if you'd come down. Chloe Jang, Evelyn Hancock, Humza Hashmani, Isabella Mutan, Joaquim Olafson, Juliet Perez Diaz, Carololo Vapnu, Lorena Zhu, Leah Cowrie, Mario Cabal, Marissa Neheiser, Mika Jorgensen, Olivia Liu, Sylvia Tan, Towns Galloway, and Travis Ho. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Oh, Christopher Lynn and Cruz Prudencio, if y'all could come down. I got one more. Ma'am, could you come down too, please? Sorry, we didn't mean to omit anybody. Okay. Who would like to lead us in the pledge to the nation's flag? Okay. Okay, the three officers? Okay. These three right here? Okay. Why don't y'all come down here with me? And then we'll turn. There's the nation's flag right there. And if you can, yes, share the mic. Pledge to the nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag, which is over here.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank y'all very much. We're going to move now to item number 2, closed executive session. 2A, Section 551087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. And 2B, Section 551072, deliberation regarding real property. We're going to recess at this time and reconvene in the council dining room. Reconvene the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting. Time is 5:27. Move straight to public comment, item number 3. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on one of the active agenda items? Hearing none, we're going to move to item number 4, consent agenda. These items will be taken as one motion unless a council member pulls one of the items. Can I get a motion? Got a motion by Jacobson, second by Kermali. You'll vote at this time, please. Let's go do a hand vote. Okay, there we go. Passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 5, ordinances and resolutions. 5A. First and final consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land ordinance number 2369, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, calling a general election for Saturday, May 3rd, 2025 to elect a mayor and 2 at-large council members, calling a special election for Saturday, May 3rd, 2025 to appear on the same ballot as the general election to fill the unexpired terms for single-member districts 2 and 4, and to vote on the amendment to the city's charter, providing for early voting and notice of the election, and providing for other matters relating to the general and special election. We have Ms. Linda Mendenhall, our city clerk. Linda.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council, City Manager, and City Attorney. The ordinance before you tonight calls several elections for the May 3rd, 2025. I'll break them down for your clarity. First, we have the general election. This election must be officially called by February 14th. The seats on this ballot include the mayor, at-large position 1, at-large position 2. The terms for these offices are for 3 years, beginning in May of this year and concluding in May of 2028. The candidate filing period began on January 15th and will end at 5 p.m. on February 14th. Currently, we have 4 candidates who filed for mayor, which includes 3 current council members. So we have William Ferguson, Nishad Kermali, Carol McCutcheon, and Michelle McKeska. For at-large position 1, there are 4 candidates who have filed, and for at-large position 2, there's 2 candidates who have filed. For at-large position 1, there's George Kakanat, Aquil Verk, Muzaffar Vora, and Jim Vonderhaar. For at-large position 2, Robert Betcher and Amir Malik. The next is a special election. This election will appear on the same ballot as the general election, and it'll be to fill the unexpired terms for District 2 and District 4. These positions are required to be filled due to the current office holders running for mayor in the general election. The terms for these seats will begin May of this year and will conclude in May of 2027. The candidate filing period for this election will begin tomorrow, February 5th, after tonight's call of election, and will end at 5 p.m. on February 14th. In your staff report, it indicated March 3rd, but we've received some new information, and I want to clarify that the filing period for the special election will align with the general election filing period. Then the final item on the ballot will be the amendment to the city charter. The details of this amendment were presented at the January 28th meeting. As you may recall, this amendment pertains to the extending the term limits for the municipal court judge and associate judges from 2 years to 4-year terms. Also included in this ordinance is the City of Sugar Land will enter into a joint election services agreement with Fort Bend County. Under this agreement, Fort Bend County will serve as the elections administrator. John Oldham will serve as the early voting clerk for the City of Sugar Land. He will oversee polling locations, hire election workers, manage the mail ballot process, and handle all other administrative tasks as part of the required duties of an early voting clerk. Fort Bend County offers a countywide early voting system, allowing voters to cast their vote at any polling location within the county during early voting and on election day. Here are some key dates to remember. Last day to register to vote is April 3rd. Early voting period begins April 22nd and runs through April 29th. The canvass of election, and when we do canvass the election, it will be for all 3 elections that I referred to in this presentation, and it must occur between May 6th and May 14th. The oaths of office will take place at that same meeting. Additionally, the order of placement on the ballot will be determined through a placement drawing held on February 24th at 10 a.m. for both the general and the special election. This drawing will take place after the candidate withdrawal period, which ends at 5 p.m. on February 21st. In closing, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Linda, on the special election, will the candidates be running to fulfill the unexpired term, or will they have a whole 3-year term?
No, they will do the unexpired term.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Linda, could you go over again on at-large 1, who the candidates are, and at-large 2, who the candidates are?
Yes, and everyone in the audience remember that the filing period is still going on, so
Right.
maybe we'll have more. But right now, we have for our at-large 1, George Kakanat, Aquil Verk, Muzaffar Vora, and Jim Bondahar. For at-large 2, we have Robert Betcher and Amir Malik. And did you want to hear Mayor as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
And I also want to let you know we'll be doing social media posts. We've already done one about the filing period for the general. We'll do the same for the special election and try to get a lot of information out there for the residents.
Yeah, Linda, make sure that you get the early voting dates on our calendars so that we have them. And then I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? Got a second by Watley. You'll vote at this time, please. There we go. And it passed 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 5B, consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Resolution number 2514, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, adopting the City of Sugar Land 2025-2027 Strategic Action Plan. We have with us Ms. Shayla Lee, our Director of Strategic and Government Affairs. Shayla.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. All right, so I wanted to give a little bit of background information for our audience just of how we got to this point so far. So back in last May, we put out an RFQ process in order to get a company to help us build the strategic planning process. And after receiving 13 bids, we selected Future IQ, who has worked with us over the last year of building the strategic action plan. And so one of the 3 key elements that we wanted to make sure we focused on when doing these planning efforts were making sure that we're future-oriented, data-driven, and focusing on the people that this plan will impact. And so that led us to a process from last July through this past December, where we had engagement efforts that captured more than 1,500 participants. And just to highlight some of those efforts, we had a stakeholder survey, there was a small business networking event at Talyard, a table set up at the farmers market, focus groups with high school students and college students, having various update meetings with the community as well as staff, and think tank workshops, which for us are opportunities for staff and the community to come together to talk about trending items that impact our community. And so with that kind of led to the 4 major elements of our strategic action plan. So the first one is just to call attention that it is very data-driven, so everyone will be able to see a lot of the elements and feedback that we got over time directly feeds into the initiatives and the objectives that we develop as a result of it. So that's a major avenue, but the other 3 I wanted to take some time to go through with you guys. So the first one for strategic outcome areas, so these were set by City Council back in 2021, so these have not changed. These continue to be our goalposts, our high-level end results. If everything was perfect in the world, these will be the things that we would achieve. And so those continue to be finance strong and viable, making sure that we're fiscally responsible, community safe and secure, continuing to pride ourselves in being one of the safest cities, economy thriving and vibrant, culture dynamic and fun, creating those spaces where people can come and have fun, government respected and influential, making sure that we maintain our partnerships on different levels of government, and then also with school districts. Transportation connected and convenient, making sure that we are being intentional about how we move people. And then infrastructure, just making sure that that continues to be sustainable and resilient. And then the last one, not only are we creating those spaces for people, but once they get there, we're also making sure that they feel included and belong. So those are the strategic outcome areas, so those in goalpost. Another area I wanted to call attention to is the city's vision. So this also has been our vision for a couple of years, but we want to call attention to make sure that the community understands kind of the path forward in which we develop these initiatives to support. So I wanted to make sure we reiterate that the city's vision is: we are trailblazers, relentless in our pursuit of good, so that our employees, residents, and businesses can enjoy a life better than they can even imagine. So the bulk of what we are getting into today comes in the form of what we call our all-in initiatives. So all-in initiatives are the projects that we focus our efforts into for the next 3 years. And so these are a compilation of what these 5 projects look like. Also wanted to kind of call attention to all of the staff work that has gone into putting it up here. So the names on the screen, everybody couldn't be here, but wanted to take an opportunity to shout out those people. But to go through each of those 5 initiatives, we'll start at the top of the bubble and go around. So the first one being stimulating economic growth. And so that one is about creating opportunities and partnerships that continue to help businesses thrive and also create employment opportunities and just overall continuing to our economic prosperity. The second one being enhancing suburban community. And so continuing to understand that people move to Sugar Land because of our family-oriented suburban culture. And so making sure we continue to support that and also creating opportunities to celebrate the diverse cultures that we have. The third one being boosting community reputation. So highlighting current and new innovations that help promote our value. So why do people want to come to Sugar Land? What do people know Sugar Land for? And so making sure we find ways to boost that. The fourth one being encouraging community engagement. And so we recognize that we have council meetings, we have town halls, but what are other ways that we can meet people where they're at? And so that initiative is focused at us finding those different avenues to create those meaningful conversations. And then the last one, that one is not new to anyone. Redevelopment has been a priority and will continue to be a priority. So this is just calling attention to that one as well, as we continue to foster redevelopment of key sites and then continue to enhance community amenities and provide forward-thinking housing strategies. So I wanted to kind of go through each one. So as you guys see, kind of the strategic plan is laid out in those outcome areas, the vision, it has those initiatives, and then it has objectives that fall under the initiatives. And so just to kind of highlight each of the objectives that fall into each one of those. So enhancing suburban communities, so just to help you understand a little bit more about what that may look like, is fostering our cultural celebration and finding opportunities to bring together and people and their unique traditions, and how do we strengthen our sense of identity. The second one being expanding destination opportunities for all. Third one being building strong community connections. So how do we help neighbors build those connections with each other and also with the city? And then the fourth one being providing quality family infrastructure. And so that one means our continued push for safe, welcoming, and inclusive communities where families of all sizes and backgrounds can thrive. So the second one being boosting our community reputation, and some ways that we work on that one is, so what is our value proposition statement? Why do we tell people Sugar Land is the place that you came to live and you still should love, and then also that other people may want to come to? And so making sure we focus on that. The second one calls attention to our strive to be data-driven, because we recognize what is a community reputation even built upon. And so that's our call to attention of figuring out those different elements that build up a reputation and making sure that we're backing up that data. The third one being external visibility and recognition. When you Google Sugar Land's name, what do you want to come up? And so making sure that we find opportunities to boost that visibility. The fourth one being establish broad partnerships that help spur innovation. So you guys will see partnerships is in everything. We cannot be successful if our partners are not also successful. So making sure we continue to find those different opportunities. And then the last one being leveraging the social proof and testimonials. So we recognize there's so much good that goes on in our community, that goes on in our organization, and putting people faces to those and making the community understand all of the good that we all do together, and how do we call attention to that. The next one being encouraging community engagement. And so we've recognized, especially during the strategic planning process, that a lot of people want to be informed, they want to learn more. And so how do we create more opportunities to be able to provide people with that education and meet them where they are? And then also delivering enhanced services to demonstrate accountability. So we recognize we can talk about innovation all day, but if we're not providing and delivering on the services that our community expects of us, then we're not meeting the mark. And so how do we make sure we start with enhancing those services and then expanding on to the innovations and beyond? The third one being fostering relationships to build trust. So again, the relationships are going to be everything. And so making sure we're bringing the community along throughout this process. And then the fourth one, not only do you create those spaces for people to talk, but how do you make sure when we talk, we don't just have a vocal minority and that everyone feels comfortable expressing their opinions and making sure they're all being able to contribute to the overall city's decision-making. All right, and then fostering sensitive redevelopment. Again, these aren't new. We're just kind of calling more attention to them and making sure that our whole organization is focused on this as well. But one being fostering commercial and residential redevelopment environment, creating that forward-looking housing strategy, preparing our key sites, building partnerships again, and then communicating what the value of redevelopment is for our community. And then the last one, stimulating economic growth, so fostering that innovation ecosystem. So how do we continue to have plug and plays and WISPs of the world? How do we continue to be a place where Sugar Land's name is well known for that? And also, again, cultivating and maintaining our partnerships. And also, while doing that, the job creations and attracting more businesses and visitors and residents. And then the last one, what does Sugar Land want to be known for? What do we want our tourism drive to be, and making sure we kind of establish that. And so just kind of next steps of what it looks like. So after this discussion of the strategic plan, the next steps for the organization is to build different projects and initiatives that support this, and also be providing regular progress reports both to council and the community. We'll have a quarterly newsletter. We'll have performance metrics that all are on the city's website as well. And the recommendation would be staff recommends approval of resolution number 2514, adopting the city's 2025-2027 strategic action plan. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Sheila. We'll open it up for questions. Talk a little bit about the public engagement process, because that, not only from the part in the front end where we did the planning, but there was actually pretty substantial public engagement. I mean, this wasn't something we just made up.
Yes. So I'll add that this is kind of the first time that the city has taken this approach. So traditionally, strategic plans with the city has been very top-down heavy, but we wanted to make sure that we met people where they at as much as possible and got as many voices as possible. And so with that, the stakeholder survey was a targeted effort to make sure that we hit as many people that necessarily couldn't come to events. And that's where we got over 1,000 responses alone. And the business networking event was a really cool opportunity because we don't really get to engage with small businesses on a regular basis. And so that was an opportunity with the Economic Development Partnership. And then other avenues, students are a group that we also don't see traditionally in these processes. And I'll say, like, it's led to students being able to come speak at council meetings, students that are applying in our internship programs. We have a student that we are doing as a high school mentee right now. And so I think that created a great pathway to open up further discussions, as well as the other focus groups. And we've had regular conversations. We send regular updates because we want every single person that participates in this process to know the progression of it all throughout.
Yeah, so that to me was something that, as you said, was different. I mean, we had almost 1,100 people from the survey. Then we had farmers market event participants. We had focus groups. We had community update attendees. We had Think Date attendees. We had students at Dulles High School, a joint leadership meeting. I mean, it was that input that then became what shaped this, I'll call it a value proposition for what we do over the next 10, 15 plus years.
And then I'll say one of the favorite parts of the strategic plan, which will be available on our website for everyone to see, is that there are direct quotes that came from these different conversations and different meetings that show you how it led directly to the different things that we created.
Yeah, these are the things that people said were important to them. Now, many of them, you know, public safety, that remained one of the top items, but there were other things that, quite frankly, were pretty surprising that weren't what I'll call watershed objectives that people wanted to see.
Absolutely.
Other questions? Suzanne?
Thank you. You hit on what I was going to say, Mayor, but I think there were three components to this that are important to recognize, and by the way, thank you. This is amazing. One was the engagement in the beginning, and number two, taking all this information and giving it to council, and we talked hours about how to filter that engagement and bring it down to find these strategic goals and what those goals meant, and now we see it, how it came to fruition and what we're going to do with it. So the third component I want you to touch on just a little bit is, can you give us an example of how this looks like when we implement it? For instance, if we're looking at enhancing or encouraging community engagement, that's a lot of words that you put there. What's an example of what that might look like when we implement that goal?
So an example, one of the kind of what we call trailblazing ideas that we've thrown out would be a community expo. And so that would be the formation of essentially a larger conference, but it's for the community to learn about different topics and kind of go back and forth, be able to kind of, if there's any thoughts that people had about how the city worked, we can talk about it, we can get their input on it. So that would be an example of that one.
Follow up?
So I know, and we've already discussed this, but I want people to understand that we're taking these ideas and we are coming up with different ways on each one of these bubbles to talk about how they can be engaged and what our plan is. One of the things we talked about was going out into the community on an individual basis, having an ice cream social with our constituents, and just anything we can think of to be more engaged and have the community come to us. So thank you for that. It is trailblazing. We're going to make some differences in our engagement process for the community ongoing. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve. Got a second by Watley. You vote at this time, please. And it passes. Passes 7-0. Shayla, thank you for your effort on this. I mean, I know it wasn't just you, but you led the effort, and I think it resulted in what I'd call, a lot of community input, a lot of staff time, and I think we've got a great plan. So I'll leave that to you guys to execute.
All right. Thank you.
Item number 6, City Council City Manager reports. 6A, City Council Member reports. William, let's start with you.
Well, Mayor, on the 29th, several of us attended a Fort Bend ISD School Board appreciation right around the corner from here, and I cannot express my gratitude enough to the board members that put their lives on hold for our children and do such a great job of that.
Thank you, William. Jennifer.
Coming up this Tuesday, I'm sorry, the 12th is Wednesday. Is that right? Coming up this Wednesday, we are having a community task force meeting at the Office of Emergency Management in Fort Bend County. Judge Becerra, who's our mental health judge, and myself are trying to facilitate conversations with behavioral health and suicide prevention. And we've got members from our 2 school boards and some principals come, and just various members from the community. And one of the things that we talked about in our strategic planning process was to have the city more engaged with our public schools. So this is another avenue where we are trying to bridge those communications and assisting the school districts with helping kids and teachers maneuver through the school year and facing all the challenges that they do. So it's a very important thing, and I just wanted to get that out there for the public to know.
Thank you. Suzanne.
Thank you. Mine is not quite that serious and wonderful. I ate a lot of chili. On Saturday, the East Fort Bend Human Needs Chili Cook-Off was happening, and I got to test a lot of chili. And gosh darn it, I chose a chili with beans again. I don't know, go figure. It was awesome. So thank you for having me there.
Sure. Nishad.
Thank you, Mayor. It's with profound sadness that I report that His Highness the Aga Khan, who is the 49th Imam of the spiritual Ismaili Muslims, has passed away just a few hours ago, right before we came to this meeting. His Highness served mankind throughout the world And as we honor, we cherish, and we offer gratitude for his life, keep him in a prayer tonight and his family. He passed away with his family. He passed away with his family at his side in Lisbon, Portugal tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Carol.
Okay. Thank you. Nishad, Suzanne, and I attended the Memorial Herman groundbreaking of its new north building. And also several of us attended the Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce Chairman's Gala, which is always a great event. And then I attended the Texas Interscholastic Mountain Bike League Candy Crush with students from all over Texas participating. And it was really a beautiful weekend for them to be out there at Brazos River Park.
Stuart.
Thank you, Mayor. My events have already been covered.
As have mine. Mike, item number B, city manager report.
No report, Mayor.
Got a motion to adjourn at 5:52 p.m. Thank you, council members. Hey, Mike, can I have you and Meredith step in there? Yeah.